Welcome to Save As Ability, a podcast to educate and inform you about disability employment issues. My name is David D'Arcangelo, and I'm your disability policy expert.
Hey, everybody. Welcome back for another episode of Save As Ability. We have a great guest today. We're going to get right to Jeremy Grandstaff. Jeremy is from the Inspiration Foundation. Welcome in, Jeremy.
Well, thank you, David. I'm so glad to be sitting with you. We've been trying to make this happen for quite a while, and just good to be sitting down with you. Thanks for the opportunity.
Well, it's great to have you, and you're a busy man. And I think you've been at Inspiration Foundation. Has it been a year yet? I mean, I think it's like more than 6 months, though, right?
Literally, yesterday was 6 months, I believe.
Okay, all right. So still, we'll put air quotes, still new at the Inspiration Foundation, but we want to learn a little bit about you and then tell us more about the Inspiration Foundation. And then we'll conclude with how people can get involved with the Inspiration Foundation and your mission and all that. So Jeremy, over to you. Take it away.
Well, sure. Actually, okay. So I'm going to start with me, right?
A little bit about you. Well,
a little bit of both, right?
I know your personal backstory, and I think it's interesting and, important for our viewers and listeners to be able to, kind of put in and say, yeah, you know what? My child or me or whoever, I can do it because Jeremy did it.
That's a great way to tee that up, David. And I have to tell you, as a kid who grew up on a farm in Ohio, never in a million years did I think that I was limited. And that's not normally a sentence that you'll hear somebody say. I was born blind. I was lucky. My dad and mom basically said, you can do anything that you want to, just figure out how to fix the problems. And so I was taught at a very early age, don't tell us no, tell us how you're going to do it, right? We'll give you feedback, but you're going to have to bring a solution with that. And that really followed me as, I was the first person to come back and go to junior high and high school and a year of elementary. I think they called it back then mainstreaming our kids, right? I don't know now, they probably call it integrated education. But I was the first in my district. And so, David, I walked into my own IEP meetings at the age of 11 saying, this is what we need to do. And this is how we need to take action so that I can be accommodated. And I don't know that everybody gets that experience growing up. Right?
I don't think they do, Jeremy. I mean, we're preaching here all the time. You got to be your own best advocate. And that's right. Really like one of the best examples of it.
Well, and I was actually just saying, just to kind of bookend that, if you will, I remember being 11 years old and all of my kids were playing baseball outside, and I was on the phone with McGraw-Hill trying to get them to send me a textbook in a text document, because this is the 80s, right? So we didn't even have Word or Excel back then. But jump ahead 30 years, I totally just dated myself. I just turned 50 last month, or a month and a half ago. And I've had a very interesting career. I've worked for IBM. I ran my own business for 20 years. I worked for 2 small businesses. And throughout all of that, what I got really good at is bringing people together around causes and creating movements. And that's really what we're doing at the Inspiration Foundation. Our goal is ambitious. It is to increase the employment rate of people with disabilities by 10% in the next 5 years. Now, part of that is figuring out what exactly measurement are we trying to increase. Obviously, that's, part of that equation. But we do pull a couple different levers. One is with training organizations through our technology grants program. And then the other lever that we're pulling is working directly with small to medium-sized, large corporate companies and helping them understand not just how to hire people with disabilities, but that it is their next competitive advantage, or I like to say, thinking back to my management consulting days, the quickest way to improve your bottom line. Right. And so I'm happy to dig into all that, but I thought I'd stop there.
No, that's great. And that's an ambitious goal. 10% is ambitious. And Archangel wants to work with you on that. So we can talk about that here or offline or both if you want. But so the Inspiration Foundation then really is focused on employment, but there's other initiatives there too, is what I'm hearing.
So the way we see it is that in order to close that disability employment gap, you've got to push. I like to say you've got to create. I don't like saying push levers, right? Because that ensues a little bit that we're pushing things out of the way. And I get that concept, but I like to talk about it as creating two strong pipelines. The first pipeline is working with training organizations and helping them make sure that the technology that they are using when they're training people with disabilities is the most up-to-date technology. So this year we gave over $80,000 worth of technology training grants to various organizations. There'll be 11 total throughout the year. And we're talking organizations like Lighthouse Houston or Visions in New York, just to name a couple. There's 11 total, right? And the goal is to help them upgrade their technology. So some of our grant applications included like meta glasses so that they can help students understand how those work and that it's a viable option for them if they're trying to do some things with AI. And I'm just picking one product, obviously, some
Right. One
upgraded
example.
JAWS and
Sure.
things like that, right? And then the other pipeline, so we have a candidate pipeline that they're better trained and ready to go, but we've got to have employers that are ready to hire them. And I'm telling you, I see a lot of focus on the big tech companies, and that's great because technology equals accessibility, and I get that bridge, right? But there's also retail, supply chain, the travel industry. These are all areas where blind people don't just have to do, or people even with other disabilities don't just have to do accessibility work. They can do customer service work. They can do management work, project management work.
Yes.
As people with disabilities, we tend to focus ourselves on looking at how can I get into accessibility now that I'm blind? How can I get into something related to disability now that I have a disability? What I want to challenge is that concept to say, how can I bring my expertise, whatever that is? And it's not just your lived experience, though you and I know that creates better skills. It creates ingenuity, things like that. And so what we do is we have the Inspiration Seal program, which will be launching later this year. That's a membership program where they can get access to education. And we're working directly with them to improve what they're doing at a company level with engagement. I call it accessible engagement of people with disabilities. And once they get to a certain point, then of course we'll launch that seal and they'll be able to put that seal on their packaging if they'd like. And then we also do a lot, David, with the Dining in the Dark and Executive Roundtable, which is I like to call it the twist on the normal Dining in the Dark concept. And we're using that as a way to not just educate people on how to hire people with disabilities, but to really help them in creating the culture that's going to transcend barriers and going to improve that bottom line, right? Create more opportunities for team members to be truly engaged in a way that they will improve things like customer retention, employee retention, all these things that when we're consultants, we talk about will bring your profit up and increase that bottom line concept.
Well, I'm encouraged to hear you say that, you're talking about the organizations that help people with disabilities. I think that's a great way of doing it. You're talking about the people with disabilities themselves, but then you're also talking about the employers. And I like that approach because oftentimes people leave out part of the air quotes, equation, if you will. And it's really all of it together. And I think that's why, or one of the major reasons why disability employment, the gap remains, there's such challenges there, is because it's, you got these different organizations operating in all their different orbits, and there's not a lot of coordination. Like the notion of disability, air quotes, community, like, is there really a community? And you know what I mean? So the fact that you're taking like a holistic approach, I think, is effective.
Well, I appreciate that, David. And I think there's two other things that I would point out. One, you know, I really believe that this dual approach gives us the ability to engage partners in a way that we're able to produce measurable results. And one of the things that I keep getting told is you have to do measurable results. Jeremy, got to do measurable results.
Metrics.
No one's doing measurable, right? And I'm like, we're there, right? We're looking for that. So when we talk about the technology grants program, I want to be able to talk about not just how many people got served in that program. That's a terrible way to say that. Not just how many people got
fulfilled,
participated,
with
or were students, right?
Yes.
In the project. But how many of them were able to obtain employment? And so, like, one of the things that we really work with is organizations like the National Employment Team, or there's a disability organization that I'm blanking on right now out of San Diego, where we're really looking at not just how can we get you trained, but then how can we make those connections to people who want to hire. And I really do believe the supply chain industry, and I call it supply chain because we're talking like companies who sell into Walmart or Target, right? Where they're smaller companies, but they don't know how to do it, but they want to be good corporate citizens. And that's an area where I think we can tackle. I also think our dining in the dark and executive roundtable twist is really neat, because it's not just creating a rah, hey, this is cool experience. It's actually teaching them along the way. What is it like when I lose that sense? What did I not know I could do, but I could actually do?
Right.
And sometimes it's those aha moments that will take a CEO who's sitting in that room and in that experience, and they'll be like, you know what? I've been afraid of hiring people with disabilities, but these men, these women, they bring ingenuity to our team. They bring creative problem solving. We need to look more into this. Let's get on this.
All right. So as we begin to conclude, why don't you give our listeners and viewers a call to action, a way that they can get involved? And because we like what you're doing there, let us know how we can support you.
Yeah, I appreciate you asking that. And I think it's really important. First of all, if you happen to be what I call an applicant, right? So this is someone who is looking for a job. I want to encourage you to connect with us. We'll get you connected into resources within your community, right? We're not in the let's directly push you forward for hiring. That being said, we do have resources in local communities and ways that we can plug you into that network. If you are a corporate executive and even a small business owner, and you're thinking, wow, is this something I should really do? Would this really improve my bottom line? Reach out. Let's have a conversation about that and explore how to meet you where you are and help you with that. And of course, David, for those who are looking for that end of year, or not so end of year, but maybe mid-year tax deductible donation, you can always make a donation to what we're doing and help support and build this movement. Just inspirationfoundation.org is our website. And my information is well, you'll put that into the thing. But
we'll put that in the description.
Contact me on LinkedIn.
We'll put it in the description. Yes.
Yeah, absolutely.
All right. Well, Jeremy Grandstaff, thank you so much for the work you and the Inspiration Foundation are doing for people with disabilities to provide access to opportunities. And foundations are really an important part of like the kind of greater nonprofit infrastructure, if you will. So we value that.
Well, thank you, David. And again, it was great to be with you. I love the work that you're doing at Archangel. And I think, there's definitely longer conversations to have there for sure. And, to your listeners, thanks for taking the time, right? I know there are lots of podcasts out there, and I'm so excited that this one got your attention. And I challenge you to act on that. Inspirationfoundation.org. Let's build that movement together, and let's increase the employment of people with disabilities by 10%.
Let's do it, Jeremy. Appreciate you. All right. So everybody watching, listening, thank you for joining another episode of Save Visibility. It's David D'Arcangelo, and I hope you have a great day.
For more information about disability employment issues, please visit our website, disabilityemploymentsolutions.com. The Save As Ability podcast is available on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, our YouTube channel at Disability Policy Expert, or wherever you stream your podcasts. Subscribe, stream, rate, and review our shows. Your ratings and reviews help our show reach new audiences. Produced by Pod Pro Entertainment. Save As Ability lives within a network of podcasts located at podproentertainment.com. #The New Radio. Again, my name is David D'Arcangelo, and I'm your disability policy expert. Until next time, thank you. I hope you have a great day.